The Liberals are making Canada one of the worst places to compete in the global marketplace. Will the Prime Minister end his plan to triple the carbon tax on Canadian small business?
The Honourable Parliamentary.
Mr. Speaker, last year the average family spent 36% of their income on basic necessities like food, shelter, and clothing. Do you know what percentage was spent on taxes? 43%. That's over $40,000 per household. And this Prime Minister is planning on tripling the carbon tax, further penalizing families to purchase their basic necessities. The Prime Minister is also planning a payroll tax increase on January 1st. Will he recant and offer some relief to struggling Canadian families?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians understand that EI contributions are how they insure themselves in case they lose their jobs. Mr. Harper understood that too, which is why the EI contribution rate was higher in every year he was Prime Minister than it is this year and then it will be next year. Here is what the Globe and Mail had to say about the EI debate we've been having in Parliament. And I quote, the Finance Minister's, quote, math is impeccable. As for the Leader of the Opposition, the Globe and Mail said about his EI claims, quote, his claims are misleading.
Honourable Member for Calgary-Midnapore.
Mr. Speaker, Canadian families can no longer afford this Liberal government. Right. The average Canadian family now spends more on taxes than it does on the basic necessities of food, clothing, and shelter. Mr. Speaker, this Prime Minister spent $12,000 of taxpayer money on groceries in a single month when Canadian families are skipping meals to pay their grocery bills. So when will this Prime Minister do the right thing and cancel the January 1st tax increase on Canadians' paychecks?
Good question. The Honourable Minister.
Conservatives in this House have the opportunity to do the right thing right now. There is a bill before this House that would see Canadian children in low-income households have access to dental care. There's a bill before this House that would see low-income renters have access to rental support. Mr. Speaker, on this side, on the government side, we have been there consistently for families since we were elected in 2015. I hope we can count on the Conservatives who claim to care about Canadian families join us in these instances. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for York Simcoe.
Mr. Speaker, small businesses are being buried under layers of red tape and tax hikes by the Liberals. Take onions. It's now cheaper and easier to import onions from Turkey than buy Canadian. First, there's the red tape. Canadian onion exporters face inspection delays and costs, and then there's the carbon tax, which also drives up costs and makes Canadian onions more expensive than those shipped from around the world. The Liberals are making Canada one of the worst places to compete in the global marketplace. Will the Prime Minister end his plan to triple the carbon tax on Canadian small business?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
I welcome that question from the member opposite. First of all, in terms of making Canadian businesses competitive, we are aggressively pursuing trade agreements around the planet to diversify our supply chains. Secondly, what we're doing with respect to small businesses is empowering inclusive trade, which means supporting women entrepreneurs with a $6 billion program. It means empowering black entrepreneurs with a $200 million program. It means supporting Indigenous people on this land so they can reach their economic potential. We will continue that work because we know what is best for inclusive businesses is best for Canada. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Yukon.